Welcome to Jennifer's garden. Today I'm just going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to go over another creator and his reasons behind the compost. I know I have badgered on a lot recently about the compost and making my own piggy gold, but I just want you to listen to somebody else's views. And what you think. So yeah, I'll be talking through it though, guys.
This stuff here is pricey, and it's only been getting more expensive.
It has,
but did
which
you know
is
you
why
can make your own potting mix or bagged compost cheaply? There are just 3 ingredients in these. You can mix them in 3 minutes, and your plants will love it. And the ingredients these use can either be found right here in the garden or at any garden centre. Let's get started.
I've told you many times about the ingredients I've
let's have a look
used.
at our standard sort of bag of all-purpose potting mix or multi-purpose compost. This bag cost me £8, which is around $10 US, and at 40 litres in volume, that works out at a princely sum of 25 cents or 20 pence per litre, and that soon adds up when you're filling up something like this. So today we're going to look at 3 potting mixes that work out considerably cheaper. In the spirit of saving a pretty penny, let's start with the cheapest mix of them all. A general purpose potting mix, ideal for those on a strict budget and suggested by none other than the Royal Horticultural Society. It's ideal for bigger or longer living plants such as trees, shrubs, fruit bushes and perennial flowers. But the best bit is it could cost you next to nothing or even nothing at all, and we'll be looking at a mix for slightly younger plants in a bit. The bulk of this budget-busting mix is simply garden soil, which I'm taking from several spots around the garden so I don't leave a big old hole in one place. Now, soil will help to add sort of stability and weight to the mix, which will be really invaluable for plants that are going to be growing in the same container for
That's very great
years.
if you do have big gardens.
From an area that isn't covered in weeds, so it hasn't got weed seeds in it.
No,
and
some gardens are still very boggy
with
and
perennial
clay
weeds, because those
as well,
can be
like
quite
mine,
hard to get rid of.
which isn't
If
really
you
a
happen to have
great
any
option.
molehills like this, by the way, well, lucky you. This has got a beautifully crumbly texture, which is absolutely perfect for potting soils. Those moles have only gone and sifted the soil for you. What obliging fellows they are. And then to add some nutrients, open things up a bit and create the best possible structure, I'll be adding some sort of organic matter. That could be garden-made leaf mould, well-rotted manure, or in this case, some garden compost. And then I've also got some grit. More on that in a moment. At the very basic level, we really only need garden soil and our organic matter, compost in this instance.
We've been growing a lot of compost, guys, as I've told you in several videos, and we've been doing it in a lasagna method, so browns to greens to browns to greens.
To get around that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the soil element down 1 part to 6, and then replace that with 1 part grit to help with drainage.
Which is a lot of this we'll be doing at the bottom of the garden, where we're creating the wildlife section, which is again very boggy, so we will be adding a lot of grit into that section and probably adding potted plants.
Your compost or your manure, so you would have 6 parts soil and 4 parts organic matter. Great, we're all done. Let's give it all a good mix in together. Now, I'm going to put the cost of this on the screen now, and the cost to me is just the grit that I've added, and that brings the total cost per litre to just 9 cents or 7 pence, an absolute bargain. And if you're not using the grit, then, well, this has the potential to be absolutely free. I've got some salad here, some lettuce, to make a point. These cost the same, but this is 1/3 the weight of this. And it's exactly the same for pre-made potting mixes. You're paying for convenience. But as I hope I'm showing today, it really doesn't take that much effort to make your own. And that's especially the case for our next mix, a seed starting mix. This achingly straightforward mix uses just 3 ingredients. Now the bulk of this is going to be this stuff here. coconut fibre or coir.
We've
This is a
started using that,
byproduct of the
guys.
coconut industry. It's simply the husks that have been shredded into this kind of really fine,
We're trying
rather
different
goosely
methods this
crumbly
year, guys,
texture.
to see which
What's
is
really great
best.
about this stuff is it's completely light and very sterile, and that's really good because our seedlings are quite vulnerable at such a young stage, and that means if it's sterile, there'll be less risk of things like fungal diseases, molds, or fungus gnats on the soil. You could potentially use your own sifted garden compost, but I just prefer to use this stuff because I know it's lovely and clean. My other two ingredients are perlite and vermiculite, and both offer good advantages. Perlite is, would you believe it,
I don't tend to
volcanic
like to
glass,
use a
and it's a
lot
bit
of
like
stuff.
popcorn. It's heated up, and then explodes into this really lightweight, almost polystyrene-like consistency. Now this stuff is sterile as well, and it's great for opening out a mix because it's so lightweight. It helps with drainage, so we're going to be including some of that. Vermiculite is also lightweight and sterile, and also made by heating something up. In this case, a naturally occurring mineral called magnesium aluminium iron silicate, or aluminum for our American friends. It doesn't exactly trip off the tongue, does it? But come in closer and let me show you why it's worth including. Its texture is very much like kind of layers of flaky pastry, and those layers will really help to hold on to moisture and nutrients. So while our perlite here will help to open out the mix and help it drain, the vermiculite will help to hold on to a bit of that moisture. We want a nice balance of both. So let's start with 7 parts by volume of sifted or sieved coir. Now, the reason I'm sifting it is just to remove any kind of longer bits of strands that will get in the way when we're trying to sew. Won't cause any harm, but just makes it a little bit fiddlier. This can just go into the bottom of pots or something, or makes a nice little go-to. What do you reckon? Anyway, on to the next thing, which is 2 parts by volume of perlite.
Guys, we could try
Perlite can throw
perlite.
out a bit of dust, and we don't want to be breathing that in. So if you're mixing small amounts,
Maybe not if you've got a
breathe
lung
away like that,
condition,
or just put on a
guys.
mask just to be on the safe
But
side.
we are trying to do it
It
as
doesn't really matter
organic
what you
as
use
much
to,
as possible as we
you know,
can.
measure out your ingredients, so long as you are consistent with your measuring apparatus. And then finally, 1 part of our vermiculite. Right, now I'm just going to give this all a good mix up. Now, if you're mixing bigger batches and you don't want to spill anything, you can find it easier just to put this into like a big bucket or something, or wheelbarrow, for example, and give it a good stir that way. Makes it a bit easier. But this small batch, it's fine on the table like this. It's already coming together, look. Oh, this is just like cooking a perfect pie. The total cost for this mix is summarised here. Now this works out a lot cheaper than your average seed starting mix or seed compost, and yet it doesn't scrimp on any of the good stuff, the vermiculite and perlite, which makes it, in my humble opinion, a genuinely superior product. So next up is my all-purpose potting mix. Now there are several ways you can approach this. I'm going to be using a mix that makes use of garden compost and then adds a few goodies as well for extra nutrition to really help support plants.
This is the way that we're starting to do this, guys, but of our own. With the guinea pig poo.
Longer. So let's start with our garden compost, which I'm just going to sift to give a nice finer texture. Any kind of lumpy
So
bits
we've got garden
bits
compost of our own from the garden that we've homegrown.
Before filling it, or just
In fact, it's the stuff that was left from the lady in her garden compost, but seriously, I had to restart that compost heap again.
Compost in my barrow, and now it's in with 2 parts of the coconut
We could try that, guys. This is the one that we could actually try. This is what I wanted to show you.
I tell you what, on a slightly chilly day, all this kind of shaking around like this doesn't half warm you up. And then finally 1 part perlite. So just to reiterate, we've got 2 parts compost, 2 parts coir, and 1 part perlite. Now I'm not going to bother adding any vermiculite because the compost in here will do a really good job of holding on to moisture. The perlite here is going to add good drainage, and that compost is full of nutrients, really rich stuff. But I'm going to add a few more little treats to this to really supercharge it. So first up is this stuff. It's volcanic rock dust, otherwise known as azomite. This stuff will really help to encourage microbial life in our mix, and it's a good source of trace elements and minerals. If I add a handful like that, it'll get released slowly over time and give our plants something to get their roots into. They'll really love this stuff.
We could add a bit of homemade ash.
And then the second thing I am adding, it's sort of exploded in the post on the way to me, is some worm castings. Now this stuff here is really rich, beautiful stuff, full of nutrients, full of good stuff and life.
We're going to be adding the guinea pig
vibrancy.
poo into
And
this.
along with the compost, it will help to inoculate this mix with kind of all sorts of microbial life and good stuff. So I'm going to add in basically 2 handfuls of these worm castings here. Now if you make your own worm castings, then I would just go ahead and add even more than this. And actually I'll link down below to our video we did with Charles Dowding where he makes his own worm castings, so you can see how to do it very cheaply. If you can't get hold of worm castings for any reason, then try something like kelp or seaweed meal to really give your
guinea pig poo is one of them that we could always add into it, guys. Always.
And here are the final figures for this
There's
mix.
lots and lots
now,
of different ways that you could.
Bought-in worm castings are not cheap, but so little of them is used that it has really
Our soil has cost a lot cheaper to make.
Making this genuinely outstanding mix.
I've done a video on what we feed the guinea pigs, what we use in the garden and how we use it.
Such beautiful stuff. This stuff is great for potting on or for container growing vegetables and annual herbs. I'm going to be using it to grow on some of my seedlings. What a joy it is to use your own homemade mix. I am sure you will find these 3 mixes really useful in your garden.
Guys,
let me know how you get.
I will let you leave a comment below. Please like and subscribe, and we definitely will be doing some more of these tips to add on to it. Most definitely we will. But for now, please like and subscribe, and I hope you all speak to you soon. Thanks for looking to Jennifer's Garden. Bye.